Over 1 billion people today identify as Muslims. But how did it all begin? Hey everyone, more than 1,400 years ago, Arabia was home to many different desert tribes. Most worshipped idols, and the most sacred site in the region was in the city of Mecca. Here, at the center of a bustling market, sat a building called the Kaaba, which housed 360 idols representing various local deities. Each year, merchants from across the land would gather in Mecca for trade, but also to perform rituals to these idols. In 570 CE, amidst this tribal and religious hubbub, a boy named Muhammad was born. His father died before he was born, and his mother died when he was just 6 years old, so he grew up under the care of his grandfather and then uncle. As a young man, he became a successful merchant, well known for his honesty. In fact, he got the nickname Al-Amin, meaning the trustworthy. Now, while Mecca was a religious center, the everyday life of its citizens wasn't all that holy. There was lots of gambling, drinking, and even human sacrifice. And Muhammad wanted to escape all of this. So at the age of 40, he started to spend time alone in the wilderness near Mecca, meditating and contemplating the existence of God. One day in the month of Ramadan, while he was praying in a cave called Hira, about 3 miles from Mecca, he heard a sound. At first he thought it might have been the wind, but then it spoke to him. Read. Muhammad confessed that he couldn't read, so the voice repeated, Read in the name of your Lord who created. Read. You are the messenger of humanity. Then the angel introduced himself as Jibril, also known as Gabriel. Muhammad learned that the messages he had just recited were from God, and this marked the beginning of the course of human history. Over the next 23 years, whenever Muhammad went to that cave to pray, the angel Jibril would visit him and recite messages from God. Muhammad shared these messages with the people of Mecca, including his family members, but most rejected them. They didn't want to hear that there was only one God, Allah, and that people should worship him alone, not these idols. The leaders worried that if Muhammad was right, then they would lose power, and Mecca would lose its status as a religious center, which meant lots of money. So they used their influence to turn the people against Muhammad. Because of this, he and his followers faced years of persecution. Sometimes they could only meet secretly in the hills outside the city, and others were forced to leave Mecca entirely. But slowly but surely, Muhammad gained followers, especially among the poor and disenfranchised. You see, Islam means submission to God, and a Muslim is one who submits. Muhammad taught that being a Muslim meant that you recognized Allah as the one true God, and that he was a prophet of Allah. To be Muslim also meant that you lived according to his teachings, which emphasized kindness, generosity, courage, justice, and helping those in need. All of this resonated with the poor who suffered at the hands of the rich and powerful, so they converted to Islam in droves. Sadly, though, the Meccans didn't take kindly to this. They wanted everyone to worship their idols and stay in their religion, so they continued to pressure Muhammad and his followers to leave the city. Finally, in 622 CE, Muhammad decided to flee Mecca. Along with more than 100 of his followers, he left the city at night and traveled about 400 miles north to the city of Medina. This journey, called the Hijra, or migration, marks the beginning of the Islamic calendar. In Medina, Muhammad reached out to the various tribes and convinced them to unite and accept Islam. Under his leadership, they built mosques and began praying 5 times a day toward Mecca. They also established rules to help govern the community and protect the vulnerable. One of the things he put in place was a system of charity, which required the wealthy to give a portion of their money to help those in need. This way, no one in the community would go hungry. And during the month of Ramadan, when Muslims fast, they are also encouraged to give charity to those who can't afford to fast. Medina became a thriving community of believers, and within a few years, there were thousands of Muslims living there. However, some people still rejected Islam, and Muhammad and his followers continued to face persecution. So in 624 CE, Muhammad led his followers to a battle near Medina called the Battle of Badr. They were outnumbered, but they defeated their opponents, proving that they didn't need military strength to succeed. Instead, they had something much more powerful, their faith in God. Years passed, and Muhammad's fame as a prophet grew. As more and more people accepted Islam, the Meccans realized that they couldn't stop its spread. So in 630 CE, they sent word to Muhammad that if he came to Makkah with his followers, they would allow him to pray at the Kaaba without any interference. He took them up on their offer and entered Mecca with about 10,000 Muslims. Now, because the Meccans had kept their word, Muhammad forgave them for all the persecution they had caused. He then walked to the Kaaba, destroyed the idols inside, and declared it as a house for the worship of Allah alone. Soon after this, more and more people in Mecca accepted Islam. By the end of 632 CE, almost the entire Arabian Peninsula had become Muslim. However, Muhammad didn't live to see it because in 632 CE, he passed away in Medina. He was buried there, but his legacy lived on. His followers spread the message of Islam throughout Africa, Asia, Spain, and India, and millions upon millions of people converted to Islam. Within a century, the faith had gone global. As Muslims spread across the world, they brought with them the teachings of Muhammad. They established schools to teach Islam and other subjects like math, science, and philosophy. They also built great mosques, such as the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem and the mosque in Cordoba, Spain, which once stood as the largest church in the world. And their culture was renowned for its beautiful art and architecture. Today, Muslims continue to live wherever people do, on every continent on earth. They come from all backgrounds, and they speak many different languages, but they are united by their belief in one God, Allah, and the teachings of Muhammad. No matter where they are in the world, when the time for prayer comes, Muslims will drop what they're doing and pray together, facing toward the Kaaba. So the next time you look at a map that shows just how big the Muslim community has become, remember that it was once just a small group of people trying to follow the teachings of a man who sought the truth in a dark cave outside of Mecca. It is the story of one man seeking truth, the message of one God, and a community built on faith, unity, and peace. And that story continues today in the lives of over 1 billion Muslims around the world. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit that thumbs up button if you liked this video and subscribe for more stories.